A number of nutrition experts like to classify ketogenic diets as fad diets. In my opinion, this shows a lack of understanding of the role of ketosis in human evolution and development. First, our hunter-gatherer ancestors did not have an abundance of food, let alone foods rich in carbohydrates, so they probably regularly slipped into and out of ketosis. While I'm sure they didn't do this intentionally, it does highlight that our bodies are metabolically set up to function well in ketosis. Second, the metabolic flexibility to move in and out of ketosis is an important sign of metabolic health. Third, there are numerous beneficial metabolic changes induced by well-designed ketogenic diets, including reduced chronic inflammation, identified as a driver of obesity and of chronic disease, and a reduction of cardiometabolic risk factors, particularly in individuals with insulin resistance or type 2 diabetes. The ketogenic diet became more widely known in the early 1900s as a treatment for epilepsy and even for type 1 diabetes before the purification of insulin. Those patients lived in ketosis. In our current food environment, so dependent on carbs, it can be very difficult to live in ketosis. Menus at events and in restaurants very rarely include low-carb, let alone very low-carb options. Furthermore, there are many healthy and delicious foods that contain carbs, such as fruit, root vegetables and whole grains. However, there are people who do live in ketosis and they remain metabolically healthy, and likely much healthier than those who eat excess refined carbs. I use very specific forms of ketosis as time-limited interventions in some of my weight loss programs. Well-designed low and very low-calorie ketogenic diets are very effective for weight loss, with beneficial metabolic effects that can reverse many of the changes induced by weight gain secondary to high-carb diets. In addition, they can avoid some of the complications of the pharmacological treatments for obesity while still delivering many of the advantages of reduced appetite and hunger. This all rather begs the question of whether it's actually the modern Western diet, so full of refined carbs and ultra-processed foods, that is the fad diet. This diet, which we've only had for around 60 years out of the hundreds of thousands of years of human evolution, is considered by some to be a normal diet, even while it's devastating the lives of countless people through obesity, diabetes, heart disease, and so many other diet and weight-related conditions. If you want to consider using ketosis in the short or long term for weight loss or for its metabolic benefits, you should always consult a doctor or nutrition specialist with experience in ketosis before starting such a diet. They're not especially difficult, but the true benefits are only achieved with well-designed programs, and there are some medicines and rare medical conditions that are not compatible with ketosis. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you found it helpful.